Proverbs 18:13, whoever gives an answer before he listens is stupid and shameful. Many of the times when I want to come home and just, be in the presence of God, read the Bible, sometimes it's absolute haymakers, right hooks, rebukes, and God will often do that sometimes to obviously prune you, to mature you, to grow you, to develop you into the man or the woman that he wants you to be. A lot of the times a blow to the spirit or the proper word will drive certain things out of you, and that's what you want, is the light of Christ to invade every single area of your life, to prune off the bad habits, to prune off the dead branches, the trauma, the past, everything. You want Christ's light to invade your life, and really that's what it is. It's the light triggering whatever is within, and it's because you need to grow, you need to change, because God is a God of continual growth, continual progression, and it can feel uncomfortable when you're really doing what God wants you to do, because it's like you're always being molded. God is the potter, we are the clay. You're always growing, you're always transforming, but you really want to be quick to listen and slow to speak, and it's important to have humility on this path if you are in the will of God. Pride is not going to help you, because this path is demanding, it is challenging, it is here to grow you, it is here to mature you, make you everything God has called you to be. And you cannot be prideful and say, I know it all, because then you block yourself off to receive. You need to be humble so you can be poured into, because one thing God does, if he's invested in a man or a woman and he's trying to reel you forward on the rope of destiny, is he will put people who are a couple stages, a couple steps above you in whatever field and whatever you're doing, so they can pull you up, so they can bring you to the next level. When it comes to practicing the guitar, I go to guitar practices, started that, and it was from 3:30 to 5, and there was a person there who was like half my age but very talented, had rhythm, sounded way better than me, and I really feel like it was God testing my humility, but also it shows that God's invested, because that's a good sign when you have people who are a couple steps ahead of you, because that means God wants you to walk forward in the vision. God is trying to pull you down that path, and when you have people who are a couple steps ahead, what does that do? Ultimately, it advances you, it grows you, it makes you more skilled, and then God will do that again when you master all of those things in those areas, and that's how God works. It's important that you have humility so you can receive, so you can get poured into what God is trying to pour into you, because pride, I could have been proud and be like, like, you gotta stop being so hard on yourself, and you have to understand that if you're really in the will of God, it's supposed to be challenging. It's supposed to grow you. It's supposed to mold you. It's supposed to develop you. If it was easy, then I would really be suspicious. If you really want to receive from anybody, this is just some wisdom. Always have honor for that person, and you will receive all of the things that God has put in that person for you. If you have, first and foremost, humility, because you're a vessel that can be poured into like a sponge. God resists the proud, but also what you need, you will resist that. When it comes to intel, information, things you need to learn, you need to be humble, and you need to be obedient, and you need to honor. If you want to level up in what God has called you to, first and foremost, always honor whatever God puts in front of you, because this is how God operates. If he wants you to continue down a vision, or you're in the will of God, let's just say you play instruments or you're a singer or whatever, if God's invested in you, he will have you in rooms with people who are better than you, so they can advance you, pull you up, and then once you're up at that level, he will bring new people who are better than your current state, and he will continually keep pulling you up, pulling you up, pulling you up, and that means he's invested in you, and he's trying to take you to a specific place, which is an honor, and he may use different things to test your character. If God is invested in you, he will put things around you that grow you. He will put things around you that pull you up and say, come up higher. Now, you have obedience, you have practice, you have all of these things, but do not be hard on yourself, because if you don't get it, you don't get it. The amount of sermons where you just hear the same thing over and over and over and over, and it's just one ear out the other. Now, I'm not disrespecting. I'm saying for any sermon, anything you watch, or even the Bible, you could read something a million times and it's just like, yeah, but it actually registering in your spirit and walking it out is something completely different. You can have head knowledge. There's another transformation where it's actually registered in your spirit and there's permanent change, and that's where God wants you. And sometimes it needs to get through your thick skull. Sometimes you need to hear the same thing over and over and over until you're like, yeah, that's wisdom, or I'm going to apply that, or I'm going to add that. And everything is timely, right? When people speak, maybe God has a plan for you to receive that down the line, and it's like a nugget of, oh yeah, because moving on this path, I would have flashbacks of something I heard that would be helpful in the present. So nothing goes to waste, but just don't be hard on yourself. First and foremost, it says humble yourself under his hand. God lifts the lowly. God lifts the humble. So he will make you humble. He will keep you humble, right? You think you're good, he's going to send somebody who's going to be like, you need to humble. Like, he'll always find a way to humble yourself so he can exalt you, so he can pour into you, so you can receive what you need to receive.